City live only here on Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason. As always, make sure you're smashing the shit out of that like button. What's up, Justin? Make sure you're smashing that like button, sharing the show, sending us out into that YouTube algorithm. The Pittsburgh Steelers are about to get busy as free agency rapidly approaches here. How the combine worked out, it is what it is. It's a lottery, man. It's the combine. The draft. So, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to the draft here. But I don't want to dismiss the current Pittsburgh Steelers news. Davante Adams released from the Jets. Is that somebody that the Pittsburgh Steelers go after? Justin Fields, rumored to be the hot and heavy target for the Pittsburgh Steelers over a guy like Russell Wilson, considering the financial obligations that the Steelers would have to make in order to gain. Russell Wilson will be substantially a lot more. Russell Wilson is looking for probably, in my guesstimate, $25 to $35 million in that area. I believe that that's per season. I believe that that's where he got to be. That's just where I'm thinking he has to be. Maybe I'm wrong. But I told you guys long time ago where I thought Justin Fields would end up, in the so-called inside rumors that are coming out now is roughly around $10 million per season. I continually talked about that. I thought that that was where the Pittsburgh Steelers had to be and where the fair market value, in my opinion, for Justin Fields after his 4-2 record. And again, that's nothing to be crazy over like it was something great, because it wasn't. But again, it still was the NFL, and he still went 4-2, and that just gets teams going. Now you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers over the last 6 seasons, very shitty. It was like 3 point something. The lowest yards per average in their rushing game. That's something that was bothersome. And I know there was lots of people that want to say, well, look who their quarterbacks were. Well, look who their quarterbacks were. But you spent a first-round draft pick on one Najee Harris, and you still wasn't able to get to at least the middle of the pack. I'm not saying you got to even be the best. At least just get to the middle. Thanks, American Militia. What's up? Za Curry, what's up? Steelers 626, what is up? Daniel Warman in the house. Good to see you guys, man. Glad to see you in the chat. We're getting pumping here early. Again, make sure you're smashing that like button, sending us out into the algorithm as we continue to go through the show. We're always chasing 100 likes. But let's talk about that Pittsburgh Steelers rushing average, lowest in the league over the last 6 seasons. Yeah, the worst in the league for a team that the head coach preaches about pounding the football down your throat, talking about being the best, most physical team in terms of the run game. Why? Why not utilize the personnel that you have and maybe try to do some different things? Be creative. I don't know. But for a head coach to sit up there and constantly preach about the run game, to have the worst run game average per carry, is pretty crazy to me. And I saw that today and just kind of rubbed me the wrong way with the way Mike Tomlin approaches his game plan to have such a catastrophic failure. Again, we can look at the quarterbacks that they've had. It is what it is. But here's the thing, my friends. You got to utilize the personnel. You got to utilize what you have. You got to come up with some schematics that make sense. You got to try to be different. And the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't tried to do that. They've tried to live and die by the same old philosophy. And I believe that gets you to where you are, average at best. And that's not good, man. It's just not good. And it's something that I've been thinking about over and over, and just trying to come up with answers. And yeah, the offensive line or this or that, but I just feel like that you could do at least middle of the pack, middle of the road. You know, I'm not asking you to be the best in the league. I'm not asking you to be like Saquon Barkley. I'm just asking you to be halfway decent here and there. You could get yourself out of the basement and not be the worst in the NFL by just being okay here and there. It's just really a problem, man. Daniel says, I think a good veteran wide receiver will only help George Pickens. Thank you, Jason. Za says, I'm satisfied with them leaning towards Justin. Yeah, me too, man. Garrett Wilson, what news did you hear? I haven't heard anything about Garrett Wilson yet. I haven't really, honestly. Maybe one of you guys have heard something. I haven't really heard anything about him. But here's the thing: the Jets seem to be cleaning house a little bit. But when you have real young pieces, those when you're cleaning house, the real young pieces, you're not really trying to get rid of. You're trying to keep those guys there and trying to backfill that with free agency and trying to have a premier draft. You're not trying to get rid of guys that are 1-2 years in, even 3 years in. Probably you're trying to keep some of that young talent to build your core around. Mark Malone, dude, all they have to do is some play action over the middle to Fry Daddy, mix in a couple running back screens. That would make all the difference in the run game. I agree 1,000% with what Mark's saying there, man. This isn't rocket science. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here to make this run game better. And everybody wants to beat up the Pittsburgh Steelers line. I got to tell you this, my friends. The schematics of the offense dictates a lot of their performance. And I know no one wants to admit that. They're going to just blame that all on players. It's all going to be players are the problem. Guys, you got to dig a little deeper than that. Coaching matters in this league. Schematics matter in this league. You cannot go out there with a vanilla game plan and expect your fucking offensive line to be all pros. It's just not going to happen. You have to have some sort of balance. You have to have something in your back pocket that creates your offense to be able to do some different things that makes a defense guess, that makes a defense not be able to load up on your run game. If you can't do those things, I don't give a fuck who you have at the offensive line position. It ain't going to make a difference. You can put all Hall of Famers across that line, and if your schematics suck and the defense can just line up and powerhouse and load the box against your run game, they're not going to be good. They're not. It's a different beast, man, when you take in every variable. And when you talk about what Mark was saying, screen passes here, coming across the middle, yes. And the Steelers do try to do some weird little bubble screens and shit here and there. But guys, what we're talking about, I think, is literally lining Pat Freiermuth up in the slot, dragging him across the field, hitting him 2 or 3 yards over, just dumping it down to him, letting him run a little bit after the catch, opening things up a little bit. Making it to where the defense can't say, every time that Russell Wilson or whoever's the quarterback is under center and they take that quick 3-step drop, they're either going to hand a little delay off or go to the running back here. They're going to make them guess to where they can say, look, that guy could go after this tight end. That guy could go after this slot receiver. Everything's going to have a little bit of a working relationship with each other. It's just really, really difficult to do the things that you want to do behind the schematics that the Pittsburgh Steelers have. It just really is. And I know I'm trying to talk in circles here. I'm trying to justify in my head some of the things that they do. And I can't. I can't ever make it make sense. I can't. It was Adams. Yeah, Adams. He got released. Bono. He got released. So the Jets released Davante Adams. So he's on the market, man. Whether the Pittsburgh Steelers are able to go after him, but what's that going to cost, Robert Road, well said, Mark. The fact that the Steelers do not make the other teams defend the middle of the field is a complete joke. Absolutely. Guys, there's basically, you break the field into three quarters, both the edges and the middle. You're breaking it into 3 quarters. You could even break it into 4 if you want to get real technical, having the underneath. You could say underneath the edges deep to the goal line, and middle deep to the goal line. You could break it into those 4 things. And if you're a defense and you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, you don't have to defend the underneath middle to the goal line. You don't have to defend that. It is very, very rare that the Steelers attack the middle of the field even with a deeper shot. And if you're a defense, you're willing to say to yourself, I'm not guarding that shit. I don't care. I'm going to have minimal numbers there. And if they hit a big play there every once in a while, great. And if they start chunking you up, they do, by some weird chance, have a light bulb go off of their head and say, oh, we're going to hit this a little bit. Okay, you drop your guy back in. There you go. I'm just saying it's really not hard to defend. They're not doing anything. As a defense, why do you even have to account for that? You don't. You really don't. It's just crazy, guys. Yeah, he was released. What's up, Heeman? What's up? When Julian Edelman retired, when Julian Edelman, a retired tight end, he's a wide receiver, is calling out our defensive scheme while being retired is sad. Coaching malpractice. I wish there was a word that sounded worse than malpractice. Yeah, me too. It's just crazy. You can't win like that, guys. And I don't know how else to describe it to you other than literally breaking it into those like 4 sections and saying to yourself, when you watch the Steelers on offense, these parts of the field you just don't have to defend. You don't have to pay attention. And that's a lot of the reason why that I got to say the Pittsburgh Steelers do fail in the run game. Because teams load up. They load up, they know. And their formations lack movement, guys. Pre-snap movement, they lack shifts. They lack any type of movement. There's no creativity inside of their play scheme. None. You don't have to be following a guy in motion or playing the shift game or guessing, because when they run up in a single setback and they spread people out usually, they're running a toss. They run up in a single setback in the heavy formation, 12, 13 personnel, extra tight ends. What are they doing? They're running the toss. Hold on, guys. There we go. I had to put this idiot in timeout. That was just kept saying hi. And I did say hi to their dumbass. They kept saying hi. But anyway, guys, it's very predictable. Teams know also, when you have all those tight ends out there, they're not going to throw the ball. It's a for sure run play. They don't ever try to throw out of that set. When you talk about teams that are successful in the past with 2 tight ends or multiple tight end formations, they throw the football out of it. They're not running the football every time out of that formation. And I think you have the tight ends to do it. I think Connor Hayward isn't a real tight end, but I think he provides you some flexibility to where you could have used him in a Dallas Clark H-back type role. I think Pat Freiermuth gives you a more heavy-footed slot receiver type guy. I think Darnell Washington gives you that true big body monster tight end type player, a traditional sense of a tight end player. So why not utilize those guys? Why not try to be different, more creative out of it? Why not try to run some play action out of that to where you're rolling out Russell Wilson, who's a guy that doesn't want to be in the pocket, it seems like. He seems to want to roll out and throw the football. So why not run that play action and roll out and throw the football to one of those tight ends? I don't know. Why not create a situation in which you utilize the tight ends heavy to the one side? Maybe put a Connor Hayward or Pat Freiermuth on the opposite end. Put the play action, fake the run to the right, dump the ball deep to the left. And I know they say never throw crossbody. Yeah, you shouldn't do it while you're on the run, but you can plant your feet and dump one down the left side of the sideline there while the whole defense is flowing with you. I'm just saying basic things like that. Do something different. I mean, anything. Try something. If the Steelers have all those tight ends in the game, you know they are running the fucking ball. Yeah, man. They got some weight on there, Za. The Eagles definitely had a superior offensive line. No doubt about it. I thought they were really good. But guys, literally, the real news right now for your Steelers, if we're talking what the real news is, I know we got off on the worst average average per carry over the last 6 seasons for your Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 point something. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I know we got off on that. But when we're talking about what the Steelers got to do in the immediate right now, and that is be major players inside of free agency. They can't allow free agency to pass them by without being really monster players inside of free agency. I think that they have to really be aggressive. And I'm not saying you just go out and get any Joe Schmo. You really got to make a conscious effort to get some really good contributing type players, man. Wherever you may find them, you got to figure it out. And I know a lot of people will say about Davante Adams, maybe he's getting old or things like that. The Jets didn't release him because he couldn't play football. It's because of the salary. They went all in with Aaron Rodgers. They tried to go all in, and it just didn't work out. So they tried to go as far in as they could, and now they're just cleaning house. So players released from the Jets right now maybe aren't washed totally. I know I wouldn't want to fuck with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. I just don't think it's wise. But they may necessarily not be washed. They're just cleaning house and getting rid of all the bullshit and trying to restart. So when you look at the Steelers' current wide receiver room, they got to add there. So maybe he is an option. But you got to have that quarterback in place first. And if the Steelers are rumored to be highly involved in the Justin Fields conversation, people saying that they are about to make a move real soon because they want to get this done. They're going to figure this out real soon. And when free agency is able to go, they are going to get this done really, really fast. And hopefully that's the case. That's the rumor. And again, I told you, $10 million, that's where I felt he would be. Maybe I'm wrong. And I know we all have a lot of other ideas. We've passed around some ideas. But I just think that that's where that market is. And again, I may be wrong, guys. But that's where it's looking and leaning toward being if you're the Steelers. Maybe if there's another couple, a team or two that's really heavily interested that he goes out there and does pursue free agency in a big way. Maybe you get into another $1 or $2 million on top of that. Maybe. I doubt it. But if you're looking at Russell Wilson, why are you going to bring him back? Because he's going to require like triple that, what I talk about. If you're looking at 10 for Justin, I can guarantee you Russell Wilson ain't coming here for less than. I'm going to be really, really undervaluing, I think, in terms of what he could get from somebody. But I'm saying 25 to 30. Maybe he gets more from somebody. These teams are that ridiculous with the quarterback position, guys. That's something that we don't all take into consideration either. Just because we're realists and we understand, maybe that's not the best move, man, going out there and paying all that kind of money. Maybe we understand it. But this is such a quarterback-hungry league that these people make dumbass decisions with some of these quarterbacks. Yeah, when you dump everybody, they're just trying. Yeah, they're just trying to clean house, baby. Lorenzo D, what are your thoughts on Art Rooney? Do you think he needs to be more involved? I don't think an owner needs to be super involved in terms of picking players and things of that nature. I don't think so. I think an owner needs to do what owners do. And that's hire good people to make good decisions and open your fucking checkbook. That's what I think owners should do. I don't think owners should be involved like a Jerry Jones because I think that gets you where the Dallas Cowboys are. Nowhere. That's where I think that gets you. So, again, owners, open your checkbook and hire really good, solid people that you truly believe in and that you give the keys to the car to. I'm not saying, hey, I'm going to give you this key, but you got to have this bitch back in 30 minutes. I mean, you go down to the 7-Eleven, get a fucking can of pop, and get your ass back. No. Here's the keys. I'm going to give you 2-3 years. I'm going to see what you can do, see what you're starting to build. Then we'll evaluate your performance, see how it goes. Do I like the direction of the team? Not these owners that sit there and want to be so involved and make all these decisions, But yet, the first sign of trouble from the decisions that they make, fire the head coach. That don't make no sense either. Hire people you trust. Allow them enough time to put a program in place. Guys, you just don't walk into a building and put a program into place. You just don't walk into a building and change the culture. It's not how it works. You don't walk into a building and flip-flop a whole team. The teams are too big. You can't do it. It's too hard to gain players of high quality that match your scheme. It's too hard to get it done. I'm going to say it's going to take at least 3 years. 3 years to really be settled in. That's just my opinion. Will you strike lightning in a bottle every once in a while? Absolutely. There's always a one-off of something. There's always something that could pop off here and there out of the ordinary. Absolutely. But in reality, in my opinion, it takes a couple years, 2, 3, 4 years, to really build a solid program, build the roster the way you want it, find a quarterback, find everything that you need. Maybe some coaches go into a place, there's already a franchise quarterback in place, i.e. Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin when he took over. There was already a franchise quarterback in place, already a top shelf defense in place, already a great special teams unit in place, already a great coaching staff in place. What did he do? Turned key and won. There are those instances. There are those things that happen. But it's not all the time, guys. Not at all. TD, what's up? Zach Curry with the emojis. Mark Malone, I don't think they're going to even try to bring back Russ. I don't think it's wise. I don't think so unless they absolutely had to. I think Russ will dangle out there a little bit. I don't think Russ will be a first choice right away for a lot of teams. I think Russ will be inside of free agency for a few days. I'm not saying the whole time, but he'll be in there for a few days. What's up, downtown? Isn't really thinking about listening. IR more worried about his father's legacy on the rule of the Rooney's, the Rooney rule. Yeah, he may be. Maybe I don't think that that's something that we shouldn't overlook it. Keep George, sign Slayton from Yeah, I don't know. I can't say your name, man. Craig Werlow in the house. I know. In hindsight, I know hindsight is 2020, but now wish they did Fields' fifth-year option. Oh, well. What would the fifth-year option have been? It would have been a decent amount. It would have been a decent amount that you would have had to pay him. Far more, I think, than what you would have paid him per season in a $10 million a year contract. I think it was going to be like a lot of money for the fifth-year option. Yeah, Robert just put it in there. The fifth-year option for Fields was like $26 million. So you can't do that. Okay, The Verge. Sorry, man. I didn't want to butcher it. Yeah, $26 million. There's no way. They're going to get, if he does sign for what I believe that he's going to sign for, if he does come back to the Steelers, $10 million over 2 years, probably 3 years, maybe. Yeah, you would be far less. You would have paid the contract plus in one season, you know? What's up, Brian? Go Steelers. Stick Aaron Rodgers with Tom Brady, the QB crew in the booth, and turn off the sound. Yeah, I couldn't listen to Aaron Rodgers talk for several hours during a football game. I could not, dude. No way. Not at all. Black and Gold just got off work and clicked the like button for you. Ready for another great... Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Black and Gold. Thank you, bro. No wide receiver will come here till quarterback situation is taken care of. That's from Craig. I agree with you. And that's going to be tricky because you know that the good wide receivers are going to be gobbled up quickly in free agency. The ones that matter. And that's why if you're the Steelers, you got to get this quarterback situation figured out so fast because these guys are going to sign quick. And that's just the way the free agency market works. Now, you'll have a few good people here and there, and now necessarily might not be the wide receiver spot. It might be other positions. You'll have some quality players that linger around in the free agency because they're trying to get the right money, perhaps trying to find the right situation in terms of schematics and things of that nature, pay, whatever. But yeah, definitely you got to get these players fired up and get them onto the books really quickly. Brian says, do you think the Steelers will get rid of TJ Watt? Do I think that that's something that will happen this year? No. I don't think, honestly, if the Steelers continue down the path that they are currently going, and that's being mediocre at best, not being competitive, and guys, the regular season is what it is. I'm talking competitive. Going after championships, that's competitive to me because nothing else matters in this league. Nothing else matters. I don't give a shit. That's why I talk about these quarterbacks that have great regular seasons but always stumble inside of the playoffs. They're not great quarterbacks. Until you can win at a high level on the big stage, you're not great. You're not great. You're good. You're a great athlete. You do good things. But you're not on that great to elite level. You're just not. And that is what it is. Yes, John, and turn on the music. Amen. Shaky P 3017 Vikings fan. If you want Jordan Addison, trade us your first. LM. Yeah, no thanks. I don't think they want Jordan Addison that bad for a first. Jordan's good. Guys, one thing that does keep the Steelers relatively their head above water, per se. Yeah, I understand they haven't been ultra competitive because they haven't, but we get that. But what keeps their head above water to where they're never totally out of it? They're not ever in the cellar of the NFL. It isn't because of Mike Tomlin. Let's not get that twisted. What keeps the Pittsburgh Steelers' head above water is they don't do the stupid deals that a lot of other teams do. They don't go out there and give up 3, 4 first-round picks for one player. They don't do those stupid deals. They don't do them. And that is one smart thing that the Steelers do. Just because, Johnny over at the Carolina Panthers wants to give up 4 first-round picks and put their franchise into freaking draft hell to where they can't get young talent to come into the building for one player, that doesn't mean you need to do it. I'm just saying, you saw the Bengals. They franchised T. Higgins. You're putting all that money into him. You're putting money into Jamar Chase. You're putting money into Joe Burrow. You're about to have 3 players eat up over $100 million of your cap per season. Does that make sense to you? I'm just saying, that's their approach. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of different ways to go about this. But what makes a franchise that is relatively always with their head above water? How do they do that? How do they keep their head above water and not just be these teams that are around for 4 or 5 years and then they fall off the map again? It's not making dumb moves, man. Let's keep going. I'd sign Rudolph, Mac Jones, draft Sal. I never say his name right. Sal. I never say that guy's name right. I know who you're talking about. I just never say his name right. Robert Road, and I've heard people say it 100 times, and it just doesn't compute in my head for some reason. Robert Road, imagine being able to listen to the current Steelers game with AI, Meyer, and Cope. That'd be sick. I'd be down double fucking yoy. Mike Miller, what's up? Downtown, you believe NRO line has as it stands, but would you use a second or third round for a top pulling guard? Ohio State, Iowa, Wisconsin, cord-fed lineman. I'm never opposed to adding more linemen, ever. Anybody in the trenches that gets drafted, I'm cool with, I love it. I really do love it. But I definitely am. I believe in what the Steelers have done so far at that offensive line. I think that they've set themselves up well. I think it's just a matter of growth, and we'll see if I'm wrong there. But would I go after it in the second or third round if one of those top pulling guards are available? A guy that's like, awesome, man. you would love to have? Sure, I would, because Isaac Seumalo's not a young kid guy. And I think you got something in Mason McCormick. So, yeah, adding another guard wouldn't be a bad idea. That would complete your 5 young, really young offensive linemen. And, that might be a really good thing. I think they need defensive line, no doubt. They spend most of their cap and have a great front office. Yeah, man, I definitely think the Steelers definitely manage that kind of a business right. I'd take a lineman every year. The Chiefs still do. Yeah, I never frown on linemen, guys. I never complain about a lineman pick. And I know there are some people that do. They're like, what the fuck, another lineman? I don't frown on him. It does not bother me. I think it's, the most important group on a football team because we are in an offensive league. We are all about scoring points in this league. So I think offensive linemen are always at a premium, no doubt about it. And why go out there and try to bring them in through free agency? Because it costs you a lot of money to do so. You might as well try to draft them and bring them in and cultivate them yourself. Definitely that's the wisest decision considering the high value that they require to bring in through trade, through free agency. Oh, he would be eating him up downtown. Craig says, I don't think TJ will sign an extension because he knows he only has a few good years left and wants to win his first playoff game and chance for a Super Bowl. I'll disagree with that one, Craig. I think he will sign an extension. Why do I say this? Is because I think he feels like that's the Watt thing to do, the solid guy thing to do, be a one-hat player. I can see why you would think that he wouldn't. And maybe he does. Maybe I'm wrong. But my opinion is I think he'll sign and try to stay with the Steelers for the duration of his career. Whether or not the Steelers want to do that even, or TJ, I don't have intimate knowledge of that. But perhaps. That's just my opinion. Black and Gold says, running back Henderson in the second round. And which defensive lineman would you like in the first round, and which would be the actual likelihood? I had a lot of them wrote down here that I had talked about the other night about guys that I don't know what I did with them here. In the first round, guys that could be around in the first round, second round, like Deion Walker, that guy. Who else did I have wrote down here that I had seen? There's other guys that you can maybe get a little bit later in the first or in the second. I don't know. Vernon Brighton I had wrote down. I liked him. Who else did I like? CJ West, I liked him. Yeah, I had several guys that I liked. Honestly, I think this is a really deep defensive line group. And the question will be for the Steelers is, can that player that you're bringing in be a real true nose tackle in the league? That's what you got to ask yourself when you're looking about defensive linemen right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's definitely all about a true nose tackle for the Steelers right now. And I know some will say that you had Adams, Mon Adams, and, he's a true nose. I don't know. I feel like that's what you got to be looking for if you're the Steelers. A young, true, a guy that can really, truly play nose tackle and be that real run stuffer. I think that's what you got to look for. And also along that defensive front, I wouldn't mind adding a couple guys. You want good, solid depth. You want young talent there. You want animals there. Big Hayward's not going to be there very much longer, and adding depth behind him would be absolutely imperative. I would have loved to seen Stephon Tuitt be able to stay with Cam Hayward. I think they would have been able to do special things together in the long term, but that didn't ever pan out. So I definitely think you need to really get young, stay young, and find somebody that can really play that real true nose technique inside of your defense. The running back, Henderson, I don't think I'd mind him. I don't know his real value here off the top of my head in terms of where he's projected to go. But I wouldn't mind him. No doubt about it. I wouldn't mind any type of runner that I could honestly. I'd rather get a running back somewhere in the third or fourth. If I'm getting a guy that's in the first round at the running back position, I want somebody that's like a generational talent, like a Saquon Barkley type talent. That's what I'm looking for, you know. Otherwise, I feel like the running back position is a position that, you know, you don't go out there and spend exuberant amounts of draft capital and shit unless you're really, really sure. That's just the type of player I think you got to be looking for inside of like any type of high value pick. We are getting Kyle Allen and also Skylar Thompson. They already have Skylar Thompson. Kyle Allen's a free agent. They only signed him to a 1-year deal, Mike. Let's keep going. Where are we at? Sleeping Lady. I agree. We don't do the stupid deals. Keep it that way. Yeah, they got to, man. Or they being. Do you imagine if the Steelers made the stupid deals that some of these teams do? Imagine they went out and did the Deshaun Watson deal like the Browns did, and it worked out the way that it did. Do you imagine that? Like, my Lord, you're just asking to be in football hell. Myron would probably say dumb, double, dumb, describe. Yeah, dumb, double, dumb. Double dummies out here. One more time, boys and girls. Yeah, he'd be like, what the double yoy is this? Christ, I hope Fautanu is a badass. That's from Mark Malone. Me too. I hope he is too. I think he's going to be good. Exactamundo, Robert Road. Zach Curry, Caleb Johnson is a decent running back in this draft. I think you can find high value targets at the running back position mid to late rounds. I think you can figure guys out. Definitely. I don't think that's going to be your starting quarterbacks, Mike. I don't know what you're looking up there, maybe. I'm not sure what you're looking up, but the Steelers aren't going to go into this season with Skylar Thompson and Kyle Allen as their top two quarterbacks. I mean, stranger shit's happened, but I doubt it, buddy. Adams is 30 years old and has never been a full-time starter. Yeah, I agree. That's what I mean. You got to get that. You got to get that true nose. Also, wanted to say prayers to you and your family. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. Caleb Johnson will probably drop. Where were we at? That was from Zach. Craig Warlow also won. We did that. Hello, Mike. We did that. Mark Malone will probably drop. We got Scholar and we lost the playoffs from Zah. John Broadway, I'm looking for the nose tackle that can plug up. Yeah, man, I'm missing that Casey Hampton type guy, man. We need that real plug up the middle, man. I haven't heard how's the punter that got hurt last year. I brought it up on a show not long ago. There was an article out there that was talking about he was running at UPMC Sports Complex on the south side, UPMC Rooney Sports Complex on the south side. So that's definitely encouraging, but that's not going to say that he'd be ready for the season. That was a multi-ligament tear, guys, and that's going to take a tremendous amount of rehab. One good thing that he has, if there's anything good that could come out of it, it happened in week 1, so that bought him more time to heal. So that might be the only shining spot to get him back for the 2025 season. What's up, Sean? TC, what's up? Downtown, yo. Where we at? Caleb dropping would help us from Za. TC, you think Adams would bring some maturity to the wide receiver room? I'm sure. An exceptional talent also on top of that. George Pickens is definitely a guy that needs some guidance, whether he wants to admit that or not, whether anybody thinks that to be true or not. He definitely needs to figure out, how to handle himself as a pro. And I'm not saying that he has off-the-field issues because we don't hear of any, and I'm not pinning that on that guy. I'm pinning on his poor behavior on the field. His lack of production, in my opinion, is there. I know he plays with maybe a little bit of not a little bit, a subpar system. I understand that. Maybe the quarterback position hasn't been the greatest for him. I understand that. but he's not going 100% on every single play. He's not providing that type of leadership inside of that wide receiver room, and that's an issue, and you got to fix it. Yeah, we do need to play disruptors at the note. It's definite something that has to be done. I expect Roman Wilson to be fine. I'm hoping this year to just be a fluke. I did a show on that too. He evidently wasn't really comprehending that playbook. Evidently, really wasn't fitting in terms of the complexities of the playbook, which I find to be real troublesome because the Steelers run such a basic, plain, vanilla offense. Their scheme is so predictable and so plain. I'm not sure how you don't catch on to that. It doesn't seem to be an offense that's put onto three little note cards. You got three note cards, you memorize three formations, you're ready to go. That's what it seems like to be in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, if you ask me. Adams still had a good year despite age now playing a factor. Yeah, I think he'd be definitely even in the right situation. I feel like he'll definitely be a major contributor. Watch, he'll go to the Chiefs or the Eagles probably. DK will be 27 this season. He's still young. Oh, DK Metcalf. That'd be cool. Black and gold, I'm worried about the punter position after his injury. We can't go back to the 3-yard punts from a couple seasons ago. Is there any way to keep Corliss? I think Corliss might be a hot commodity. He played really, really well, guys, for the Steelers. He really was a heavy left-footed punter that provided great fill-in. A great fill-in player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I look for him to have extreme interest in his punting abilities and his services here this offseason in 2025. Whether or not they can keep him, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I would say no, just because of his performance, his audition that he put on. Maybe they do offer him some money to stay. I know they got Johnston. I get it, but is he going to be ready? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Gunja King B, who you want at quarterback? It's Fields for me. I definitely think right now, out of the options, it's Fields for me. I don't think it's Fields for the long term, no. I think it's Fields for the right now. And then I still think that you have to be very diligent and very, very heavy and searching for that next franchise guy. Now, in the meantime, while you're searching for that next franchise guy through the draft, if Justin Fields ends up shining and really coming out of his shell and showing people that he can really be a big time star in this league, then bingo, you hit the lottery for $10 million a year. So that's just where I'm at with it. But I could be wrong too, guys. Wilson was in the window to come back from Zah. No, he wasn't coming back, man. Zah. He was in the window, yes, but he wasn't coming back. And it's for the reason that I talked about. He was not coming back. The only one that could have potentially, that wasn't playing, could have come back was Cole Holcomb. That was the only player that was going to come back if the Steelers made it any further. Thoughts on Darius Slay coming in at cornerback, helping Joey Porter? I don't mind Slay. Right price is the name of the game here. You know what I mean? Right price. That's what it's got to be. It's just, that's what it comes down to for guys like him. Matt Grass, I don't see Fields signing for $10 million. Maybe he doesn't, Mac. But most of the, again, so-called insiders seem to think that to be the value. And again, I said it a long time ago. I've thought this since during the season, since Justin Fields was signed with Pittsburgh. If you go back to my shows from that time, I've been adamant about the $10 million mark. I think that's where it's fair. But maybe, Mac, you're right. Maybe that is too low. Maybe a 4-2 record gets you more money in the league. I don't think so, but maybe I'm wrong. With the free agent wide receivers list looking old and battered and expensive, which one would you kick the tires on, if any? Now that Davante Adams is a free agent, I think that's the way I go. That's the way I go, and that might just be the way you have to go. Now, is it too expensive? Maybe that happens. Maybe it's too expensive. Then you got to dip your hands into that draft again, and get a young guy. And then you're going to have to lean heavily on George Pickens. You're going to have to figure out something with him. You're going to have to hope Roman Wilson develops. You don't want to go out there, though, and get a broke down guy that's going to demand a lot of your cap. I mean, you just don't want to do it. That's why free agency's tricky, guys, because you could spend an exuberant amount of money for a player that never takes a snap for you. I mean, that's the way it could go. That's the risk you take inside of free agency. Yeah, he's still under contract. He signed a 3-year deal, TC, Cam Johnston. Sam Z, y'all a little too calm. Oh, thank you. I'm a little calm today. I've been outside working. It was a really nice day. I had a piece of hair stuck to my hat. That's why I got my old hat on. I was outside working. Took my son to work. Then I took my youngest son to buy some football cards. He loves football cards. So he conned Dad into taking him to go get football cards. So I did that. But I was outside working in our storage room. It's not attached to our house like in terms of a doorway. You got to go outside, and then there's separate doors to go into the storage room, which is under our house. So I have to wait for nice days to get in there and get all the boxes organized from Christmas and everything. So I did that and was outside, do my daily shit of cleaning up dog crap out of the yard because, I can't stand it. If I ever step in dog shit, I'd flip out. So I got to get out there and make sure. I got 2 big dogs, so I got to make sure all their shit's cleaned up. So that's what I was doing. But it was nice to be outside in the sun, man, enjoying the weather. I walked the dogs, too. Got a lot done, man. What they really need to do, what they really need is that heavy D. Yeah, everybody needs a little heavy D, Kev. Ganja King B, respect, man. Keep doing your thing, Stellars. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Ganja. Robert Rowe, Johnson is under contract for the next 2 seasons. Waitman is a free agent. Yep, exactly right, Robert. Yeah, Johnson signed a 3-year deal from the Houston Texans. That's where he was prior. But the Steelers were able to get it done, and I think that when he does come back, he'll be just fine. I think he's a guy that definitely is way better than what you had in Presley Harvin. Hey, Danny. Yeah, it absolutely is, man. It is early Christmas for Steelers fans. What are we today? I think we're around the 4th, right? We're like 4th or 5th of March. Black and gold agree. I think Field signing Arthur could finally get a playbook together this season, get our playmakers the ball more. Hopefully in the red zone, I do think Connor is taking up a roster spot. Yeah, it's going to be hard for Connor Hayward to remain a Pittsburgh Steeler guy, just to let y'all know. I don't look for that one to stay. He's never been able to carve out a niche for himself, and that's the problem. Yeah, I think that there's some talent there. I think there is some ability there, but he's just never got that opportunity. And again, I think the Steelers had a tight end room this year with a great skill set. And I know it didn't get utilized the way it should, in my opinion, but I think the Steelers definitely could have used it a lot better. When you're in those 12, 13 personnel sets, throw the ball sometimes. Get the tight ends involved. Put the tight ends out there in the slot position from here, time to time, and throw them the fucking football. Drag routes, ins, outs, whatever. Get them the football consistently. It just makes sense. Robert Rhodes says it snowed last night. It's snowing now. Snow expected Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I love it here in the Rocky Mountains. Man, I am done with the snow, Robert. I had enough. We had for here lately. When I was a kid, we got a lot more snow in this region. But this winter was just a miserable winter. I felt like we had snow for months, and it just never went away. And at one point, man, I had snow stacked up to my out. You know how you put your light posts out in your front of your yard? They're like 5, 6 foot tall. I had it stacked up to the top, man, because I would just shovel it into one pile. So yeah, I'm sick of snow, Robert. Yeah, that could help him, Robert, no doubt. Special teams, that might be the only thing that saves him and keeps him on the roster. That and his brother being Cam Hayward, that being good at special teams and your brother being one of the, big guys on the team, the big names on the team, maybe that does keep you inside of the building. That's a possibility too, no doubt about it. All right, guys, make sure you're double tapping that screen, hitting that like button, sending us out into that YouTube algorithm. We truly appreciate it. Getting the week started. Last night was Monday, and I totally forgot. I'm not even bullshitting you guys. My wife said to me, "Hey, do you want to go to the store?" We had a sweatshirt I needed to take back that I got for my son that wasn't the right one at Kohl's. So it was like an Under Armour sweatshirt. So my wife was like, "Hey, you want to go to the store? We'll take back that sweatshirt. We'll stop at the grocery store on the way back." And yeah, so I just rolled out. It got to be like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I was like, there we go. Is it back? Unreal, guys. We'll just have to wrap it up. Oh, it's back. All right, we're back. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up since that kicked off like that. I don't want to take the chance of it happening again. So thank you. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, this is going to be a big week this week, next week. So you want to stay plugged into Steelers content. So we're going to be rocking and rolling, man. So make sure that you guys tune back in. And we will really dive in this week on some topics here that that I've been wanting to talk about. So we'll dive in, man. What'd you say? What do you like to do to keep the daily suck off your mouth? I have 5 kids: 21, 17, 8, 7, and 6-month-old. So there's a wow, dude. You got the big age gap, black and gold. Now my boys are one in their teens, one at 10. But I just like to work. That's what I do. I like to work in the yard. I like to work, just work. I don't know why. I like to coach sports for the kids. That's something I like to do. But I just like to work around the house and stuff. That's what I like to do. It's fun. I like to go for walks and shit with the dogs. So, yeah, I don't really have any hobbies other than this. But, it is what it is. Good night, downtown. But thank you, man. You got a handful there, black and gold. God bless you, my friend. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you didn't get to catch it live, watch the replay if you're just joining us. Wow. Hey, man, always good to know a plumber. Always good to know a plumber. There's not enough skilled people in this world. I know a little bit about everything, enough just to be dangerous, Thanks, you too, Zah. All right, guys. You have a good night, black and gold. Have a good night, man. God bless you again. That's a big age difference. Woo. You got it, baby. All right, my friends. See you tomorrow. And another thing that's bothering me is I didn't turn the ceiling fan on, and all these lights are making me like soaked because I am dripping with sweat. Thanks, TD. Good night, Black and Gold. Hey, thank you guys. You guys have